Welcome back to News Sources. Glad you're watching now. The Kenyan government has finally, now we need to go here. Now, former Kenya Power boss Samuel Gishuru and former Nambale Member of Parliament Chris Okema have lost their money they stashed away in Jersey Island after authorities there said they are returning the money to Kenya. The two wanted for money laundering charges have been in and out of court fighting to have them extradited to face charges of money laundering there. Gentlemen, classic case of two people fighting for their survival in a Kenyan court when many other Kenyans are also out there facing the same charges in a court in the US.
I think sorry to say this, but I think our system, especially when it comes to extradition, just doesn't work. We had that with the chicken gate. The monies were brought back. The other group of guys in Britain were convicted, actually sentenced, but while in Kenya their counterparts were still in office and doing their thing. Now we're having Gishuru and Okemo under the same whatever. They are fighting in court for the extradition, but the loot is being brought back. The fact that the money is being brought back is confirmation enough that a crime was committed.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, and I believe my lawyer, our lawyer colleague will confirm this, that in extradition cases, there's to be reason for why the extradition is being requested for. That there's a crime committed, and this is why we want this guy. So far, that has been proven.
Yes. The reason why the Akashas went to court, Wahome, they were fighting for their rights. I mean, they have a right to go to court and fight to stay here until their case is heard and determined. Gishuru and Okemo have been in and out of court. The High Court say they can't be taken out there to face charges. They went to the Court of Appeal. But the Akashas were in the initial stages of trying to fight the extradition out of this country, a case of selective justice.
Right. Most likely, okay, let me say, you see, those are two processes. One is in court. The Gishurus are in court, carrying on with their process, because I'm normally very slow in indicting a judicial process being part of it. Because once you are done with High Court, if you are not certified, you can go to Court of Appeal. How slow or fast that will move is another case. Right. But these are, the Akashas is a case where there was even an order for them not to be taken out, but they were still carried away. I would not say that was not even extradition as such. It was an issue of stealing them and taking them away, okay? But coming to why the money was brought back, we are still saying that even where they were supposed to go and face charges, okay? Meaning the whole system, the whole trial system was still in progress. It's not like they had been convicted already and they were going to be jailed straight on. They were going to face charges, whether they win or not, that would have been another different matter. But in my opinion, sending back the money to us is as good. Some of these issues we have to ask ourselves, so how far will we go, even with the corruption that we have here? I wish we can have a way of telling people who have looted from us, bring the money. We will think of how to deal with it.
We'll forgive you.
Yeah,
this case has been ongoing since 2001. I mean, it's a long time now.
It points to our judicial system. It's rather very slow. The wheels of justice here are too slow. They're too slow. And just as you've mentioned, the Akash's case, and I think it's also a lack of, I don't want to say the government will, because in one case things move too fast, in another case it's really, really, really slow. And I think if it was for me, I'll tell Okemo and Gishuru, let them learn from the president and his deputy. They went to The Hague, argued their case, came back. I mean, if you are innocent.
Should these two gentlemen, I mean, I know it's a case ongoing in court, prejudice and all that stuff, but should this be a case of a government willing enough to hand over its own to face charges in a foreign land because that is the right thing to do?
No, I mean, I remember the president after they were discharged by the ICC, said that no Kenyan, they will not allow any Kenyan to face charges out of the country. I mean, the fear of being of going through a court process, a judicial process out of the country, outside a country that is not yours. It's quite scary. But I believe if you firmly believe that you are innocent, then you go and face the judicial system. You'll be cleared. You'll come back, live happily thereafter. That is my take.
Let's give the cause the due process, as it were. The Kenyan government has finally spoken about the dangerous slide of insecurity cases in Laikipia County. The Interior Ministry, that has not been moved since the killing of 6 people, has come out saying the government will move to Laikipia to flush out armed bandits. The directive came after a British rancher was killed. Let's listen in to the CS Kaiseri. Wahome, did it have to take the killing of this British rancher for the Kenyan government to come out and say, we're going down to Laikipia to restore security there?
Well, anyone observing this, you had to know that once you have a Kenyan white man, let me just go straight to that, being killed by Kenyan natives, somebody had to act, and the action was seen. Let me not say that the government has not done a thing about these Laikipia killings and invasions. What interests me most is the fact that these are herders who are interested in the ranches, okay? More often we have communities, Kenyan communities fighting, okay? The cases that are happening in Baringo. But this is a very interesting situation where people are more interested in entering into these ranches and not just to graze their animals, because we have been told initially that they used to have arrangements, or they still do, where they would allow them in, access some of the resources, and then go out. But this is a case where they even go into ban. What any right-thinking Kenyan must read, something more beyond that, okay? You cannot just say that these are people who are interested in having this land for their animals, and they are also interested in the facilities here, okay, destroying, that kind of destruction. But the most important, the most critical, and the most keen point to observe here is that now this is between our so-called colonial masters. I don't know whether that's what I should call them.
The landowners.
The landowners in this particular case, and the very locals. Okay?
Let's listen in to the CS Kaiseri giving his directive yesterday.
In Laikipia, as I speak to you, the police have already arrested 379 illegal grazers who are being processed in accordance with the law. The Director of Criminal Investigation, Mr. Mohoro, is already on the ground in Laikipia leading investigations aimed at apprehending and bringing to justice those responsible.
This Ebo CS, Wabala, this Ebo CS has not been on TV for the last 1 month. Since Baringo erupted, since Laikipia erupted, is now showing up and telling us all this. I mean,
I think, first of all, I will disagree with any notion that is pushed that these are herders. These are absolutely not herders. These are organized group of militia whose aim is targeting ranches, and it's a bad coincidence that it comes at a time where leases are expiring. I refuse to agree that these are herders who are just invading ranches for the sake of pasture. I mean, like Wahome says, these people are being, there's always been arrangements all along since the historical day that they would be allowed, in case of drought, they are allowed to graze, water the animals, and move out when the situation improves.
Nicholas, and again, there has been, traditionally, herders have gone into these ranches to graze their animals. They have never killed pack animals. They've never killed them. But we are seeing, so far, 11 elephants killed, dozens of zebras killed, giraffes were killed. Where does this leave us as a country?
I tend to agree with what my colleague has said. It's just not the normal situation of herdsmen looking for food for their animals. There's more to it. And I think the government has hinted at politics at play. And just as my colleague has mentioned, there's also the issue of leases expiring, and so this land might revert back towards kind of situation, kind of thinking. And it's something that has, it's a cycle that with every election looming, there's some laxity, whether it's on the part of the government to deal with certain situations or whether politicians take advantage of that. It's really a cycle.
We must still stay in Laikipia. Obala, I'll be coming back to you. More than 6 people have been killed in the ongoing raids by armed herders in Laikipia County. The rounding up of 300 herders yesterday has raised questions about the commitment of the government to find a permanent solution. Is Laikipia County commander dismissing media questions 2 weeks ago about the security situation in that county?
I wanted to dispute the impression that there is insecurity in Laikipia. For one, these lodgers, or rather these owners of this ranch, these ranchers drive themselves all the way from the farm to Nanyuki, maybe for their own shopping and even to come to the club and to do other activities. We've never had any incident of these ranchers having been attacked on the way to the town or back from the town.
That is the highest ranking police officer in Laikipia County saying this, and then you have a rancher killed, 6 other people killed in less than 4 months.
Keo is a friend of mine.
Yes.
I've known him for years, and he's economical with the truth. Because this problem has been, first of all, it started sometime in October or November, where Mugie ranch was raided. Then there was the Shuyen farm was raided. Now the Sosien farm was raided. And quite a number of other ranches have been raided, including some indigenous local who had a farm there, and he was shot, and he's now in wheelchair. He's abandoned the farm. Now, what is happening, and what I'm seeing here, is I think my friend, the DCI Moro, is being set up for failure, because this is a group of people who have raided a ranch. Now, 379 are arrested. You want to charge them with murder. Who are you going to point a finger to and say, this is the guy who murdered? 379 of them.
Nicholas, people are saying this is the easiest way of losing a case in a court of law.
Exactly.
I mean, arraigning 307 people in court, this is knee-jerk reaction from a government that should have detected all this a long time ago.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I tend to agree. The government seems unable to deal with this thing. And just as I say, it's a reaction. Probably because the British government came out and spoke against this thing, and being a foreigner, it's attracting and getting world attention, and so we need to do something. But really, we don't have a lasting solution to some of these issues.
Osadigo, my fear is that at this rate, if nothing is done, we are going to go the Zimbabwe way, where, I mean, leases have expired, it is our land, let's invade. You see, that notion...
I hear something like this is happening in Thika also.
Yes, there is the Dalmont farm. There's, we have had a lot of talk from politicians, fellows who are running for political seats there, saying that now the leases are over. We are now in the process of negotiating, and a whole process that I've quite not heard about its explanation of recovering this land, getting it back. Going back to Laikipia, this would be one of the persons I would expect to come out strongly. In fact, before Gaiseri talks, this is a fellow who should be consistent. You know, the face of this war, the solution in this county. Now, this is a fellow telling us that this place is not insecure because these ranchers have been walking or driving themselves from point A to point B. One of them gets killed, and so the situation turns. But I would understand him. In his mind, he thinks that insecurity is when communities are fighting, whether those communities are in whichever way. He doesn't maybe think that people invading these ranches and burning a few houses, that is quite insecurity. They tend to think that's something they can handle. And maybe it is not insecurity as such per se, but to the extent that it's now targeting persons with wealth, persons with the resources, persons who drive themselves to the ranches. Now the government must step in and do something with it. Because if it's allowed to escalate, we have other ranchers, local ranchers.
There are 45 of them. There are 48 of them in Laikipia County.
People may decide to...
Now, away from Laikipia County is another conflict that has been going on in the Rift Valley, is the government determined to end the long-standing security situation in Baringo County. Security operation underway there has been dismissed as a one-sided affair, deepening the suspicion among the warring communities. Obala, I have to take you on this. Baringo again. You have a deputy president going down to Baringo, arming one community, as it were, and then you have another community saying, we will fall victim to this operation.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I thought that wasn't a strategic security directive that the deputy president made, because, I mean, you get 240 supposed police reserves from one community, or you get them in one day, and the next day they are armed and given an order, a shoot to kill order. These are people, I'm sorry to say it, but these are people from the Tugen community who are armed to fight against the Pokots. Now, this is just one community you have armed. The other ones will feel aggrieved. It will, instead of pacifying the situation, it will just escalate it. And I don't think that was a good thing.
I don't know how we'll finally fix the security situation. You know, I don't know whether I come from Mars or what, but in a country where persons are supposed to arm, or the government is supposed to arm some people, or not even to arm them, to allow some to be armed for purposes of securing themselves, that whether it has been there since independence, whether it is going to be there, I mean, whether it has been there since Moi, Kibaki, and now Uhuru time, it's a failure. We cannot call it anything else, where you say that these are communities who can raid a ranch like this one, and they escape. You know, I don't know what kind of a country that would be, you know, where people are armed, they even shoot at the Inspector General. It was said it did not happen, yes, but they shoot. You see, once you're having those kind of persons who are armed for purposes of securing themselves, then what are you talking about the government general security?
I said, are we living in a country where we have bandits roaming this country at will?
Unfortunately, we are. And the irony is, Dennis, we're trying to bring peace beyond our borders. And yet it seems we cannot handle our own peace here. So yes, we do have a country that's run by bandits and killers. And
my only fear is that as it goes on, it will embolden other communities to start arming themselves. Because if the government can't protect us, then we will go get arms. And that is what has been happening between the Pokots and the Marakwets and other communities, the Turkanas. People are moving around with guns, whether legal or illegal, and it doesn't make any difference. I mean, the security forces go there and actually hold a baraza seated with people who have illegal firearms.
Yes.
And there's nothing they can do about
and
that.
other times they come and kill those security forces.
Yes,
and we are saying, and we are told, or we are made to believe, that this is normal. This is how it has been
for a long time.
And maybe this is how it should be.
No,
okay?
This is not normal.
That can't be allowed. Okay? Once you are talking about security of a country, that security must be guaranteed by the government of the day.
Yes.
And the government must use its own facilities, machinery, okay? You cannot say that in this area we will arm this. That cannot be allowed. We arm this group of people.
What has devolution done for you in the last 4 years? What has devolution done for you in the last 4 years? I'll sample a few of you. Patrick Langat is saying devolution has brought corruption closer to ordinary mwananchi. Devolution is literally another name, corruption. Anthony Kangede is saying devolution has done absolutely nothing, actually. It has given more room for advanced corruption levels. And there's Chris from Kisii. Kisii County is a mess. Only notable thing is the streetlights. What can he do when he's... Yes, the rest of it I cannot say. One comment in less than 10 seconds before...
My take is that the government should take security seriously. Okay. It is actually what matters to Kenyans. Dismissing and wanting to wish insecurity away won't help.
Dominic Obala, thank you very much for coming to the show. Nicholas Asego, Sandy Sana for showing up. And of course, Advocate Wamethuku. That's where we must come to an end. See you next time, the next episode of News Sources.